Welcome to the Ask Faleskini podcast with a guest. I'm proud to present Matthew Stafford. Matthew, please tell us more about yourself. What is your story?
Well, thanks for having me. Yeah, to give you a little background, I have been entrepreneurial my entire life. I actually started my first business right when I graduated. I bought the business of the guy that I was working for when I graduated from high school and grew that business. It was landscaping and lawn maintenance type business. And I grew that into a venture that eventually had about 30 employees, and we were pouring concrete and doing a bunch of other things like that. And from there, uh, I went to a Tony Robbins event, and he was selling a program called Money Masters, and it was a DVD series. So you can kind of dates me a little bit, but the you would get a monthly DVD that would have a little pamphlet and then an example of someone that was marketing online to create an income. And the very first one was Frank Kern talking about how he had sold ebooks that were how to teach your parrot to talk and the money that he was making. I thought, oh wow, I've never used my computer to make money. I've only used it for emails and a few other things, send proposals and stuff like that, but never to generate income. And so I got very excited about that and went into the world of online sales.
That's amazing. When you say online sales, is that digital products only, or are there also physical products that you help promote and sell?
Both, I would say I definitely started with physical products. That was um, my entry point, I would say. What there was a site called Teespring, and what you could do is you could come up with these creative designs and you would put them on a t-shirt, and then you would market that t-shirt to audiences that you thought would buy it. And through that process, I learned how to run traffic to offers, learned how to come up with creative ideas, and then market them to sell them. And it just started my fascination with the ability to scale a business much bigger than myself, because all of the brick and mortar stuff that I had done was always so limited to it seemed like a geographical area where once you get online, you're instantly worldwide.
You're really modest about yourself, and I would like to push you a bit to talk. How do you go from selling t-shirts online to being the guru of e-commerce that you are today?
Yeah, I guess probably making a lot of mistakes, being willing to put one foot in front of the others, even when it's scary. Because it was for sure it was a totally new realm of thinking about how to generate money for me. Um, yeah, I would say, boy, yeah, just that, exactly that. You got to be okay with being uncomfortable.
Okay, let me push you a bit in the direction of midlifers. We, the midlifers right now, the end of, so we are the last, I am the last of Generation X, or the last years of Generation X. And we grew probably a bit in a analog world, and now we are living in a digital world for decades now. So how should midlifers go about e-commerce? Should they change their business? Should they just make an add-on to their existing business? Should they start a new business? What's your take on that?
Yeah, so I'm at the point now where I get to look at a lot of other people's e-commerce businesses because of what we do for a living. And I can tell you, yesterday I was on a podcast and it just came to me like what were some of the attributes that I've seen create success consistently across all these different businesses. And every single one, the business owner themselves had a very, very strong, firm position on how they would handle customer service and how their business would deal with customer service or promote it. And I would say when you're examining those things, ask yourself which businesses have stood out to you, which ones have left an impression with you, and why was that? Because if you're going to now serve the market in a certain capacity, you're going to want to replicate that same feeling of the ones that did that for you.
Okay, so if if I may push a little bit in the midlifer direction, so the biggest advantage that every midlifer can use while doing e-commerce is customer service. So pay attention that you don't do what really young people do right now. Uh, Try to avoid customer service completely and transfer it to AI agents. But um, even if you are online and your business is online, your customer service has to be pristine. You have to be genuinely interested in serving your client, especially when things do not go according to the plan. And
Yeah, I would say now a lot of people get into e-commerce thinking that they can hide behind their keyboard and not have to deal with customers. But the truth of the matter is that might have been true early on. Now the competition is such that the people that do treat every single customer, we try to stop calling them customers and call them clients because you treat a client different than you treat a customer. A customer kind of feels like another number, but a client is somebody that you're doing business with and you have a relationship with. And so if you look at all of your sales as clients, the paradigm shift mentally is that these are people that you take care of because you have a relationship with them, not just you're trying to sell them something to make some money.
very good. Nomen est omen. It's here to say. So you have to name your the one that buys from you is your client, not just your customer or one-time buyer. And you hinted at it, but the newer generation have a lot of social anxiety, so they want us to push out or outsource customer services. But midlifers, even if we are not so tech savvy as the newer generation, we might be better at customer service, especially with this, let's say, relationship management. And even if we do it online, we should act like a human being and understand that there's a human being on the other side, not just a number that will improve our bottom line.
Yes, I agree with that. It's very well summarized.
Yeah. So my biggest question right now is, where should midlifers start learning it? You have a lot of content that you're providing. What is the best way to start? How do they get in contact with you? How can they read your brain, and how can they get knowledge from your side?
Yeah, so we have a YouTube channel. We also on our website, buildgrowscale.com. We have a blog and a lot of the different podcasts where my concept has always been we will share the very best stuff that we have that's working for us right now. And if you want us to help you implement that, that would be great. And if not, you can take what we've taught you, go make some money with it, and then eventually become a client for us. And so you can go to our website at buildgrowscale.com or you can email me at matt@buildgrowscale.com.
I really like it how you put it, that you have a free content that is available to everyone, so everyone can try the concepts. but you're also offering consulting services and probably coaching services to the client. How important is to have a coach or consultant when you are starting?
Um, I think it's instrumental. I have coaches for everything that I do because the truth of the matter is if we only see what we believe is true. And so we need someone to point out our blind spots to us because it's very difficult for us to see those ourselves. And the other thing that I would say is I've learned the hard way a lot of times, and it would have saved me a lot of anxiety and time if I would have sought out mentors quicker that could, they've already went through the issues. They can prevent me from having to go through them too.
You're also speaker at events and you organize a conference on e-commerce.
Yep.
Is attending a conference a good start to just get into, let's say, in e-commerce on a deeper level?
Yeah, I think the good part about that is you get out and see real people that aren't behind their computers. You also see people from all walks of life, and you realize like, oh, okay, this is something that I could do. The majority of people that have a successful e-commerce business started with finding a solution to a problem that they had, and when the solution worked really well, then now offering that to other people, kind of from pain to purpose.
Uh, we mentioned a bit about midlife before we started the interview.
Yeah.
What is your take? Um, so, is it harder to start when you're in midlife, or is better than you start e-commerce when you're young? What are the advantages and disadvantages of starting your e-commerce business when you're already in midlife?
Uh, I would say that right now we're in the best time ever to be alive. Uh, with the tools that AI are coming out with, even though they're like so many are coming out so fast, that if you find a couple of them that work well for you and just get proficient at them, it's much, much easier to build uh, a very robust business than it was when you had to hire an entire team to do a whole bunch of different things. And so I really truly believe right now is the best time. In fact, I was having a conversation with my CEO the other day, and he likened uh, e-commerce to a baseball game, and he said he feels like we're in the third inning, and I would tend to agree with that. There was a lot of work's been done and the foundation's been laid, but now we're finally getting into the lineup, and it's time to start hitting some singles.
Wow, amazing comparison. So, before we conclude, can you share a tip or a trick that we could use before we start? And what is, according to you, the number one thing that we have to pay attention when we're going into e-commerce or when we're trying to improve our efforts in e-commerce?
Yeah, I again going back to being able to see a lot of businesses on the backside. I think simplicity scales. Too many times people find something that works and then they try to do it again and again and again with a whole bunch of things instead of just going really deep with the one thing that resonates. And so I would say pay attention to not getting caught up in a whole bunch of Me Too stuff and just stay the course. Simplicity really can create an enormous business because of the scale of e-commerce.
Okay, I have to ask you one more thing before we conclude this interview. Um, should we follow the best practices or should we focus on being authentic?
I think probably you don't get a chance to be authentic if you don't have the best practices in place because you won't keep their attention long enough for them to get to know you. So I do believe your site has to have some best practices so that the people will stay long enough to realize who you serve and why you serve them.
Amazing answer. Thank you, Matthew. Thank you for all these insights. Before we finish, where should our listeners and viewers go if they want to get in touch with you?
Yeah, they could come to the website at buildgrowscale.com or even my email, matt@buildgrowscale, some insights and see where we can provide some value.
Okay, I will put the link in the description below. Matthew, thank you for all the insights and thank you for all the knowledge that you have shared.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.